Knicks president Leon Rose must have used a PTO day on draft night because the Knicks didn't do anything. No trades, no draft picks, no nothing. And that's not hating, and that's not necessarily a bad thing either in the grand scheme of things, but I want to know how the fans feel about it. So let's bring back Danny B of the Knicks Wall to get the buzz around the city about the state of the Knicks the day after the draft. Danny B, long time no see. Appreciate you hopping on with me. Let's get into this, man, because no movement, no trades, no picks, nothing for you and the fan base. Were y'all ready for a quiet night, or do y'all feel like Leon Rose should have made something happen for Tibbs and the Knicks roster on draft night?
So I think, like, if you're looking back at the history of draft nights, right, since Leon Rose has kind of came, to the organization, they've really wheeled and dealed, you know what I mean? Trading picks, going back, popping up. So I think that fans kind of had the expectation that they were going to do something like that. The minds kind of behind the scenes there between Walt Perrin, Brock Eiler. A lot of those guys like to kind of move things around just to make the most of the assets that they have. And we didn't really see that, last night. So I want to say, I feel like it was kind of up in the air. I think it was 50-50. You were either going to see them do something like that to maximize what they had, or they were going to hold pat. And, you saw them do the latter last night. So they did hold pat. But I know you want to get into the moves that the Knicks did make.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, signing Jacob Toppin to a two-way contract. That's Obi's little brother. And, of course, everybody by now, if you're a Knicks fan, you know about the Obi versus Tibbs incident. So the fan base, how are you guys feeling about the front office signing Jacob? Do you think they're trolling Obi, or do you just think that that's a good sign? All's good now.
So I look at it as like a sign of goodwill. You know what I mean? I don't think it has anything to do with trolling at all. Obviously, the situation that got leaked, the audio of it, people understand that there's going to be tensions in the locker room when you're, playing for such high stakes. You're in the second round. Everybody's feeling like this is a series that could be theirs, and I think that with that being said, tempers flare. Obviously Obi's, had to play behind Julius Randle for his entire tenure as a Knick because of how well Julius has been playing and putting out on the court. So of course you're going to have in the back of your mind the fact that Obi, going into a contract year now, is going to want to shine a little bit, show his worth on the court, and show that he could be more valuable than just the 15 minutes or so that he's getting per game. So you have that kind of there behind it all. I dismiss it. I look at it as like, listen, first of all, if you've played, I know you've played sports. What's the locker room like when a team gets into the playoffs? Things get heated. Things aren't always going your way. You're going to be vocal about them. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of a given. The way that they work behind the scenes, we don't see what happens in practice. We don't see what happens every single day. So we don't know if this has already been resolved, squashed. Had that not leaked and Jacob gets signed, to the two-way anyway, what is it then? You know what I mean? It's all perspective. And the way I look at it, I think it's just a show of good faith, for the most part. He's very athletic. He does a lot of the little things. He's defensive minded, so I think he fits the mold on top of it. But it's definitely worth it to take a flyer on him when it doesn't cost much, right?
All right, we could chalk it up as water under the bridge, but he's put a lot of pressure on himself. Whoever leaked that, you put a lot of pressure on yourself going through this contract year, because people, they're not only going to be watching his minutes and his performance, but they're going to be watching his demeanor. They're going to want to see how he's reacting to the nights that he's not getting a lot of playing time or a lot of minutes. So last but not least, state of the franchise check. I want you to compare how you feel as not only a Knicks fan, but a media member now, a day after the draft this year versus how you felt last year. Glass half full or glass half empty?
Right. Well, I think that a lot of the fan base is definitely going to, I would think, agree with what I'm about to say, right? Like, let's kind of put ourselves back in position where we were last year, day after the draft, right? There was no Jalen Brunson signing just yet. That happened mid-July. So I think there was a lot up in the air, right? And a lot of uncertainty. What direction are they going to go? They kind of had to pick a direction in terms of youth movement, vet movement. You had that split there, and like I said, it kind of just leaves it open for a lot of interpretation, a lot of uncertainty. Now you fast forward a year till right now, right? We've signed Jalen Brunson. Guys showed out. Knicks had a very roller coaster up and down season, but did enough to get themselves into the playoffs. They won round one against the Cavaliers. They got to round two. I think they have a lot of things that they can look back and be proud of to a degree. So I think you have to say that you're looking at a glass that's half full, right? But there's two sides of the coin. You look at Giannis, right? After the Bucks got eliminated, he comes up on the stage, says, "A loss is never a loss. You're always learning from a loss," right? Then you got the other side of things that say, if you didn't win, you lost. I think that both things can be true at the same time. You can absolutely lose, not win, but still make progress towards the bigger goal, right? And if you look at the Knicks franchise, the Knicks organization, go back 10 years, 20 years. I'm going to go back 3-4 years and say that the progress that they've made since then has been tremendous, right? We have a culture now, hard work, defense, determination. That's kind of like, the philosophy there. And I think that they've done a lot of good things. Tibbs, like we just said, got round one, obviously took a step back, but then took 2 steps forward. I think you got to give credit where it's due for the most part. And right now, I'm definitely looking at a glass half full, especially with the new CBA rules that are coming down the pike also. I think the Knicks are in a good spot.
And I believe you too, man. You said that with a lot of passion. I'm ready to get on the line and start running gases right now.
Let's go.
Sign me to a 2-way contract. All right, Danny B, man, it's a pleasure as always. And Leon Rose, I wasn't hating. I just needed to make my intro pop. It's all's good. All's well here. Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, Brandon.